Hi, Brad from bradsautoglass.com and back glass slider on eBay. This instructional video is on the replacing of a fixed window, left or right, on a 2000 to 2006 Toyota Tundra. This video also applies to Toyota Tacoma 2005 to present manual sliding window, and also applies to Ford F150 2004 to 2014 all. Okay, so before we get started, the first thing we want to do is we want to verify that it's a genuine part. And I don't know if you can see that logo. From the inside of the truck, you can see on the center window, it says Toyota. You can also see in the lower corner of this window there's a Toyota logo. And what you want to look for on the Ford is the word Ford or the word car light, and it'll always be in one of the lower corners. And on the Toyotas we want to make sure that it says Toyota. If it does not, please contact technical support for further assistance. So items that may be useful for your install will be a can of brake clean to clean surfaces. Don't laugh about the brake clean. The brake clean is the best cleaner, especially over the broken glass, because it helps to draw and wick out any moisture that might be in the broken glass. A pair of channel locks or vice grips, hammer, caulk tube. You'll need urethane sealant, which we sell in the store, and then you'll also need a pair of clamps, and you're probably going to need some blue tape. Alright, so prepping the opening, you'll notice this upright, which I call a mullion, so if we're calling for technical support, this is the mullion here. And you'll notice that there's broken glass inside that mullion. Leave that broken glass in place because we're going to bond to that. The urethane makes the slightest contact with that glass and it's going to create an excellent bond, a watertight bond. Now along the bottom, your opening is going to look similar to this, so your glass may all still be intact. You're going to knock it out, and then you're going to come along and take the hammer and you can break these sharp edges off. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses, and I like this glass will break away there. And then if there's anything that's just sticking up, you can take and you can break it off. You're going to go around the whole opening, you're going to clean that up and get it ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to prep this and get it all ready, and I'm going to get inside here and I'll vacuum the track out so that the slider all works, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to proceed from there. Alright, so I'm getting the urethane ready. I've heated it to 180 degrees. I'm going to take my tip and I'm going to put it right in the center of the opening, pound down on it, and that'll enable me to open it. And you'll notice it's a big opening, and you want that big opening because it's going to help this product flow out of the tube. It's very thick or viscous, and if it's not heated, which this is heated to about 140 degrees, you'll have a lot of difficulty getting it out of the gun. There's also a cap on the back here. Pause.
Wait, okay.
So I like to cut a bit of an angled tip right there like that. It gives us just enough to get the product out. And then just one last reminder on the 5504 primer, if you have a plastic surface that needs to be primed, this is the primer. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing ready to go and stick this window in. Alright, so I have my urethane ready to go. I've got two hand clamps which also come in one of our urethane kits in the store. And these are really good because they're super strong. If you have super strong ones, you don't need to buy these, but if you don't, or if you're in doubt, buy these. I have this piece of cardboard. This is going to enable me to put pressure on this glass when I tape it down. And I've got my blue painter's tape. Now, I also have my brake clean, and I get a lot of criticism for using brake clean, but every auto glass installer should have brake clean on their truck or in their shop. If you get urethane or primer on any surface, Brake Clean is the only product that will clean it without a leftover residue. So I'm going to prep this glass. And as you can see, I'm just wiping the glass off. And I don't know if it shows up in the video or not, but you can see it evaporate right behind. And that's the reason I like the Brake Clean on this particular application, is that it does not get into the cracks that are in the glass that are still bonded to the frame. Will it actually stick to the broken glass? Absolutely. This glass is bonded in a high heat process at the factory. If you try to clean that off of there, you're going to spend 2 to 3 hours trying to clean this up. That's why we designed this to go over the broken glass. So now that I have it all prepped and it's ready to go, I'm going to apply the urethane. And we're going to apply it right in the middle of the broken glass. And you don't want to put too much on. You can see in the video how much I'm putting on. If you've got a spot where the glass has been knocked off, just fill it in with the urethane. Make sure you also overlap about 1 inch when you start and stop. And even this thin little area down here, as thin as it appears, I've had customers ask if that's going to work, and it will. This has got over 1,000 pounds per square inch of tensile strength bonding it together. Alright, so I pre-cleaned the glass, and what I do is I come down into this lower corner and it rides on the edge of the frame, and I walk it in and push it into place. And then one of the things you want to do right away is take the tape. This is going to want to slide down because gravity's pulling on it. I'm going to put a piece of tape up here. I'm going to push this up, and I'm going to put this tape on. And that tape's going to do 2 things. It's going to keep it from sliding down and sliding back and forth and moving when I put these clamps on. I'm going to reach in through the window here and get down behind the seat and grab that glass. And that's going to really squeeze that urethane out and completely fill that void. And like I said earlier, the urethane is really viscous. That's why you need these super strong clamps. There. Now I'm going to come down and do the outside. Alright, so I got the window in and I'm down. My wife called out. She says, is this supposed to be something here? And yes, and I'll cover that in a second in the video. So now that this is in and it's taped, and I can see I've got good alignment, I'm going to pound it into place. And you can hit this pretty hard and you're not going to hurt anything. It's tempered glass. And then once you get that in like that, alright, so now we're going to tape this corner down because it's wanting to stick out a little bit. You're going to pull off about almost 3 feet of tape. You're going to come all the way across here, otherwise this will just pull away. And you're going to put this on the glass only, nothing on the body, and wrap it around. And that'll help hold that down. And then what I recommend you do after you get some of this blue tape on is to put duct tape over the blue tape. Do not use duct tape on your window. You'll never get the glue off, especially in the sun like I'm working. Alright, so that's all installed. I'm going to let this set for a couple hours. You should probably let it set overnight, and we'll come back and we'll finish this up. Alright, we're back. So this is set for about 5 hours. And one of the things I noticed is I've got some urethane that squeezed out from behind the glass. And if that happens, and I didn't mention it earlier, if the urethane squeezes out from behind the glass while it's fresh, just leave it. Don't touch it or try and clean it up, because it will make an awful, awful mess. You don't want to do that. So one of the beauties of coming back after it has set is that all you got to do is just take a knife and run along the edge of the glass. as you can see, it just comes right off, doesn't even stick to the rubber. And that's why you have to have the primer, is to get it to stick to the rubber. If you don't primer it, it doesn't stick to the rubber, so it makes it easy to clean up. Now I have a fair amount of cleanup, so I'll come back and clean this up, and I'm going to take it apart. So before my batteries went dead, I was explaining that you remove the clamps, and you can see the mullion needs to be attached. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the blue painter's tape, I'm going to pull off the piece, and take and run this right up to the edge of the glass, and press this down. Alright, you can see how I got that pressed down, and that's holding the mullion in as much as we can. And then I'm going to get inside and I'm going to seam this up with beedi urethane, and that'll be the finish. Alright, so I got the tape on, and from the inside on this mullion you can see the glass, and it's right up along the edge there. So I'm going to run a beedi urethane from top to bottom. That's going to finish this project up. Now if you want, you can go all the way around the outside of the window and you can seam this like a bathtub. I don't recommend that because it's extremely messy, and if you make one mistake you got urethane all over you, which is why you need brake clean. Alright, so I did from the bottom corner up a little better than halfway, and now I'm going to get up in this top corner and I'm going to put a nice bead from the glass, catching that glass in the mullion, and I'm going to stop. And then there's a little bit of bathtub type work here. Pause. So with a little bit of tape on my finger here, I'm going to just smooth that over. And I'm going to call that good because I don't want to create a mess. So you can see I've got a bead of urethane in there from top to bottom. It's all sealed up real nice, and that completes this installation. Thanks.